Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are in the world, and welcome to another edition of the Living World of Darkness, Big Apple Takedown. It is later in the evening on the night of the 28th of May, Memorial Day. Emma Cook has recently just come back from a block party after having her fill of food and getting a fair share of alcohol, but also getting herself into something of a tiff with another person. And as such, sort of went off on her own after exercising herself in restraint, or going through an exercise in restraint. But as such, she is now lounged out on her couch, her feet up, her head laying back on a pillow, and the last bottle of the six-pack of Corona in her hand as she's just sort of chilling out there, staring at the ceiling with the TV on, just sort of arbitrarily in the background. And this is where we start our scene.
And the really important question is, where is her phone? Because it's been blowing up. Just a little bit.
It's probably sitting on wherever she threw all of her stuff down, so it's probably like on a cushion.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she can't hear it. Because she keeps it on vibrate. She doesn't leave it on.
Mm-hmm. So, a little while later, after the phone has its blow up, the first thing, let's see, I'm going to say that she should probably roll perception alertness.
Okay.
And you want to set us up in the 100 dice roller? You want me to?
Boom diddly.
So, go ahead and roll perception alertness.
5 or 4. Wait a minute, this isn't my character sheet. This is pink. 4 dice.
Oh my god, moving between Ping's character sheet and Rebecca's is just painful. Rebecca has way more dots.
Uh-oh.
Gosh darn. Well, I'm going to say if she couldn't hear the phone on the cushion, she probably doesn't hear the sound of someone testing the doorknob to see if it's unlocked. Is it unlocked?
It is unlocked.
Oh shit. Okay. So the doorknob turns and on the other side, Rebecca is pressing her ear to it to see if she can hear anything inside.
Just the sound of the TV?
She's going to hold the door with one hand while she knocks with the other hand, and then she's going to step back into the hall, leaving the door like ajar. Like it's unlatched, but it's not opened further than that, if that makes sense. And she's going to ready the gun in her purse.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Emma, sort of in her own little world, sort of hearing the knock, kind of pulling her out of just her blank thought. Sees the door just like sitting there ajar, and she picks up one of the bottles, one of the empty bottles, and she basically bashes it against the side of the table.
Holy shit, Vinny. Our characters are both gonna die tonight, and we're gonna have to apologize to Robbie. So within, Rebecca hears the sound of glass breaking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Shit. Okay, in that case, yeah, she's just gonna yell, Emma? And she's going to push through the door with the gun out of her purse in both hands, pointed at the ground.
And I think it's just better if we narrate this the role, because goddamn, a botch would be disaster.
A lot of apologies to Robbie, you mean?
Yep.
Yep, that's fair.
When she kind of opens the door a little bit, sort of stepping in, I'm guessing.
Yeah, she pushed the door open with her foot.
Yeah.
And it's coming in.
Yeah, I think that Emma's hand kind of lashes out and grabs whoever it is, and the bottle is almost brought down, the sharp, glassy end brought down towards Rebecca, stopping just short of actually stabbing her.
I kind of feel like we should roll this.
Okay, what are we rolling?
Man. Well, no, we don't need to roll to not shoot each other. That's fine. We don't need to do that. That's fine. It's fine.
That's what I meant. Unless you both want to see if we should roll willpower and see if we both don't lose our shit and have a reaction.
I don't feel like Rebecca would need to roll willpower to not kill Emma.
Fair enough.
I feel like noticing in time that it's a friend and not oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh man, it's so fucking fraught. Okay.
For the sake of not having just disastrous rolls, which seems to happen.
Yeah. We'll just narrate it. You're right. So, yeah. Emma, yeah, they both make mistakes that are almost real bad. Real bad. It's real lucky that that Rebecca doesn't get her face taken off with a broken bottle, and Emma doesn't get her foot taken off with a little gun. But they both managed to stop themselves in time.
Yep. Emma's eyes are a bit wild, and she's got that like heavy breathing going on, and she's still got the bottle like clenched, white knuckled, and it's like hovering ominously over Rebecca's facial area.
God. Oh my god, it's you. Are you okay? And she immediately turns to look in the room for anyone else.
Yeah, there's nobody there at all.
Well, that doesn't mean much. Except she does have her second sight active still, so... Yep, means a little better. Emma, are you okay?
I'll be a lot better when people aren't breaking into my fucking apartment.
Who else is here?
What?
Who else is here?
No one. And she's just gonna like look out into the hallway and just kind of yank Rebecca inside and shut the door. Because, standing there with a broken bottle in one hand and someone else having a gun, this is New York.
It's fair. Someone might be concerned. It's fair. Okay, Rebecca, very reluctantly puts the safety on the gun and pushes it back into her purse. You're okay? Nothing weird happened after you left?
Why would you even think that?
You didn't answer my text, my call, my voicemail.
She'll sort of look around. She'll toss the broken bottle into the kitchen, hits the sinks, and just shatters more.
Rebecca cringes.
And she starts like shuffling things off of like the comfy chair, and finds her phone. How many calls are on it? How many texts?
Probably 2 calls, probably 4 or 5 texts, voicemails.
Boy, if I was asleep, you would have just walked right in.
Yes, I would have, and then I would have walked right back out again and left you alone.
Emma's gonna just shake her head and walk over to where the remnants of the bottle are and start picking them up.
Rebecca sets all her stuff down and sets her purse down and comes over to crouch down and help. I apologize. It was an overreaction.
You think?
Not entirely, no. Partially.
She sort of winces, just that oh god, sort of wince. She scrunches up her face and shuts her eyes really, really tightly. And as she does so, she grabs up the last few pieces of glass and walks over to the trash can and just drops them in.
Rebecca follows her with the glass in her own hands and very gently in. Did Emma give her number to Dante?
No.
I feel like she's like the one character that didn't.
No, she did not.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that you got home all right. And then when you didn't answer, I was afraid something had happened.
Afraid like what?
What do you mean afraid like what?
What the hell were you afraid of? And she's gonna walk over to her fridge and pull out a bottle of Maker's Mark.
Maybe I am going mad. Maybe I'm just seeing vampires everywhere I go.
She'll set the bottle down look at Rebecca with sort of like this slightly circumspect look. Or not circumspect, but sus look.
Mm-hmm. Rebecca's actually sweating. She's not looking directly at Emma. She's starting to consider her own words.
Emma's going to pour a glass and just push it over towards Rebecca.
No. God, thank you. That's the last thing I need. Thank you, though.
You know, every now and then, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea. Stress isn't good for you.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And I'll roll her shoulders as she picks up the glass and just downs the contents of it after nearly stabbing somebody in the face. That she would have probably regretted stabbing in the face.
Yeah. Rebecca watches it go down and feels a little queasy because, she doesn't really deal with alcohol very well. Just keep seeing them.
Is the vision ever wrong?
It's a good question. God forbid. I don't think so.
So what did you see tonight? You sure as hell weren't spooked when you were serving out your spicy chicken and rice.
There was a vampire in the crowd. I think it was a vampire. There's a dead person in the crowd.
Which one?
Do you really want to know?
Well, you didn't hesitate to warn me about the other two.
I did. I waited 24 hours before I actually said anything about who it was.
Yeah, I guess I thought you were waiting for me to sober up.
No. No, I wanted to give you a chance to think about it.
So why are you hesitating to tell me?
What are you going to do with that information?
Avoid the fucker if I can.
So far, they've been harmless. The ones that I've met just out. Not all of them are harmless.
Yeah, I know.
I
But
know.
as of right now, and she'll hold up one finger as she pours herself a second glass, and she'll hold it up, glass in hand, and hold that one finger up. There's still only one that I will move heaven and earth to kill.
She nods. There's a lot I want to understand about them. A lot.
Don't they intrinsically feed on people, though? I mean, I think Dracula had to drink blood to keep going, right?
Yeah.
Sounded to
Yes.
me like there's a whole lot of room for gray area there.
The question is, what's worse than vampires?
Fuck if I know.
I used to
Maybe
know a wizard who talked about evil wizards, about things that were more horrible than I could understand or see. Wizards fight those things. I want to know, what do vampires fight? What are vampires afraid of that would be unchecked if there weren't vampires? Maybe there's nothing. Maybe they just are the thing in the dark.
maybe demons made out of garlic.
I feel like I would have a hard time saying no to a demon made out of garlic.
Really?
I really like garlic.
She'll just kind of toast to that and take a sip out of her glass.
Rebecca watches her with a straight face until she takes a sip, and then Rebecca cracks a grin. Or at least a smirk. I don't know. I took one of them, drove her out of the city, took her to an experimental dance. Some artsy thing. See what would happen, see what she would do. She didn't attack me or anything. She talked a lot. She was the most self-centered person I think I've ever spent several hours in the car with.
One of the ones we met.
She nods.
So was it Opal or Sabrina?
Opal.
Hmm.
But she seemed more wistful than evil.
Well, being self-centered doesn't necessarily make you evil.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. There's a lot I want to know.
You sure about that?
I have never in my life been more sure of anything. She looks Emma right in the eye as she says it, and she speaks with conviction. Like, literally. Knowing is what I do. I don't hide from things. I don't hide from knowledge. Because she stops and realizes what she's saying and like rubs a hand over her face. I don't hide from knowledge because I don't. Because I know that I won't like it. I can't.
Yeah, but sometimes when you see things, you can't look away. You can't unsee them.
Of course.
Sometimes not being able to see something makes your life just a little bit easier to live. Might be getting screwed over, but I was completely in the dark about Nathan.
Nathan.
The picture.
She nods. Not knowing won't protect you.
Who said anything about protection? Not knowing just means that it doesn't have to hurt you.
What I mean is that it usually will hurt you. It usually will.
Well, the idea that life is pain is something that's as old as most organized religion, isn't it?
No, I mean the things you don't know will hurt you. Most likely. That's what I mean.
And the things that you do know hurt you all the same.
They hurt you differently. And you can choose how they hurt you the next time. You can change the way that you interact with them.
Maybe.
It's like the girl tonight. Why'd you call her out?
Without needing to roll for it, there's certainly gears firing in multiple directions in her head right now as she is trying to think about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just a whole number of reasons, I guess. The way she said it, her implication, made it sound like you were a conquest.
Mm. Was it because you wanted me to know?
That was definitely part of it.
She nods. Why? Why did you want me to know?
She's gonna fill up her glass and just walk past Rebecca at that one. She's got this look on her face, like,
Oh,
and she'll go and sit at the little dinette area.
might have made me sad to know.
Sad to know what?
What'd you say?
Sad to know what?
And I was just a conquest.
You know, a lot of people don't find it very endearing when you call out their hypocrisy. You know that, right?
What do you mean?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
I'm glad that you let me know. There's a special kind of nervous I get when people are speaking a language I don't understand.
Fucking rude.
It is. It is entirely rude. Particularly to say things I might very well have an opinion about, not 2 inches from my face. It's rude. I agree with you.
I don't like the idea of someone eyeing you up, okay? The way she made it sound is disgusting.
Rebecca just kind of watches her for a minute, just very thoughtful.
Emma's face is just got that look of disgust and embarrassment and awkwardness and all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going through what set her off and why it bothered her, and also the fact that she's having to have this conversation.
It doesn't matter. I'm not fussed. She'll be fine.
Well, I am.
It's, not. It's dealt with. You don't have the right. I mean, you
She'll
don't have to like her.
Her back goes a little rigid at that point.
I'm not asking you to like her or like what happened, but, don't protect me without my permission. Please.
Takes a deep breath in and will down the glass. And then just hold it in her hands, looking down at it.
I do appreciate this sentiment. I do. But if I can't say, hey, I don't mind the way that person's looking at me, let him do it. That's not okay.
Just take the glass and set it up on the table. Sit back.
Rebecca sits back too, watching her, kind of rubbing her temple absently, thoughtfully.
Don't suppose she was a vampire too?
No. And I'm gonna roll that because she was some things, though. So before I roll this, what she's gonna say is, no, she wasn't a vampire. Little off, not a vampire. Man.
Well,
Sorry. But she did admit that it's a little off.
well, that would be the understatement of the fucking year, but that's just me.
Well, a little off is how I seem to roll these days. Most of the people in my life are a little off one way or another.
Now that's an understatement.
You're not wrong.
She's just gonna like give like this stare across the table.
There are worse things to be than a little off.
Like what?
A murderer? Cruel? Abusive? It's one thing to be dangerous. It's another thing to endanger someone. I don't mind people being dangerous. If they're endangering people, I would like to know and I'd like to stop them. What about you?
About me?
Are all your friends normal? Excepting me, of course. And the people I've dragged you into.
Well, first off, all the people I've met through you are not my friends. Secondly,
Touche.
my friends are not exactly what I call friends. Maybe one or two. And they're all people like me.
People like you. Hunters?
No.
What do you mean people like you?
thieves, ne'er-do-wells, scoundrels, con men, women.
Let's see. So a little off.
I guess.
You guess?
I mean, hell, people that are like me are sometimes ahead of the curve. See the world for what it is. Sometimes, or at least in their own worldview. Take what you can get before anyone takes it away from you.
Yeah. I've heard that before. Might makes right.
She'll stand up and walk back over into the little kitchenette and pour herself another glass, but she doesn't she doesn't give like a derisive look to Rebecca. It's more of a go on sort of thing.
Rebecca kind of raises an eyebrow. If I can, I should. Or I'm a fool for wasting the opportunity. I've heard that.
Where'd you hear it?
Government mostly. The religious version is a little different. It says, if I can, God intended me to.
Well, the religious version is all justifications based
So,
around a lie.
so is the political version.
Well, the human version is get what you can. Because sooner or later, someone's going to take it away from you.
Mm. There's just always the question of where you're getting it from.
Well, I suppose that's where the line is drawn between the people that are truly reprehensible and the people that just do what they need to look out for themselves.
To look out for themselves. Mm.
Well, stealing out of the homeless guy's styrofoam cup is a little bit much. Lifting the wallet off a guy that you're in a club with, dancing with, not so bad.
How do you know?
Pick and choose your spots, I guess. You know what clubs you're going to, what kind of clientele they serve.
Hmm. And you can know which ones deserve to feel unsafe, to be disrupted. I take that back. I suppose what I should say is, you know which ones can afford to feel unsafe, can afford to have their lives disrupted in that fashion. Is that more like it?
She'll shrug, take a sip. In a manner of speaking, yeah. You don't just walk up to somebody cold and slip their wallet.
I see. So, really, you're making an effort to only be a little bit off.
I guess.
I respect that.
Her face sours a bit. And sort of curls her lip a bit as she takes another drink and kind of turns her gaze away from Rebecca. Besides, people who have less to steal from aren't all that profitable.
They what?
Aren't all that profitable.
Hmm. I don't know, peony that look. One success. Give you a second to think about it. I'm going to turn the light of beer back.
Yep. Oh, wow, it really did do it.
Okay, sorry.
It really did do it. It did turn off the mute.
What?
When you are, it literally unmuted itself.
Oh my god, did it really?
Yeah, no, I actually saw it in real time this time.
What the fuck? That's so weird. Arr.
Um, have you ever seen anybody who's been like ashamed that that they've taken the moral high ground in some way?
I think so.
Kind of the expression that Emma wears, like, oh, that was a bit too nice.
Got it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And somebody who intentionally sort of throws something out there that's very crass.
Mm-hmm.
That's, yeah, what she said was very intentional. Almost like a deflection.
Rebecca gives her an unimpressed look.
What?
It's not wrong to have standards.
Sort of scrunches her nose a bit. Nostrils flare slightly.
I can't think of any universe where it would be reasonable not to have some sort of standards.
The closest you're going to come is maybe prison. Or a life and death situation.
Rebecca's eyes have glazed just a little. She's not looking at Emma anymore.
Emma will take a drink out of her glass, and she'll kind of set it down with purpose, like, that loud enough to be heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rebecca's head snaps around. She focuses.
Lost you for a second there.
I hadn't thought of it that way before. About prison.
You ever been?
I've never been an inmate.
I'd be blown away to the point of an aneurysm if you had.
The prisons I've spent time in or in Egypt. My friends were, and colleagues, and husband were detained for a number of reasons that were a little different than most of the people you find in prisons here. We don't use the words treason, blasphemy here as often.
Well, I guess that's what happens. The difference between the oligarchy we have here and a theocracy they have over there.
Theocracy is... It's not quite a theocracy.
How would you
There are
define it?
laws about blasphemy, but the leader of the country is not a religious leader. The leader of the country is not an imam and cannot issue any sort of theological decrees. They enforce blasphemy the way we enforce decency. Sorry, she would say Egypt enforces blasphemy the way that the American government enforces things like decency. People who expose themselves. People who swear on television. You can get jail time, fines for crimes against decency. It's the same.
You don't make it sound all the same.
How do you mean?
Just when you say the word blasphemy and having that being a punishable offense. Somebody there be put to death for blasphemy?
It's not common.
But it can happen.
It would most likely have to be combined with other crimes. Terrorism. Revolution. A concentrated or successful movement against the government. embarrassing someone in power, perhaps.
Well, I can definitely get you in all sorts of hot water over here, but I'm not sure if it can get you killed.
It depends on your relationship with the police, I suppose. There as here, if you, It's amazing what terrible things go wrong when someone resists arrest.
Well, that is all too familiar.
I know. I know. It's easy to dismiss it as backwards, dark ages when you hear words like blasphemy that we don't use. We use words like defamation. To justify stripping away someone's rights or their money or their privacy. Sometimes it's justified. Justice systems are tricky things. At least in my experience.
Well, she'll just kind of shrug at that.
I guess what I'm saying is it's difficult to point to any moral authority and say that one is for certain the way, the truth, and the light. I respect people who become their own moral authorities and decide for themselves what the way, the truth, and the light is. Standards.
She gets a little bit of a smirk on her face with that. And she'll finish the drink.
Rebecca watches it go down and doesn't say anything. I'm sorry that I'm sorry your door wasn't locked.
Lock only works about half the time, and once I get it locked, it's a pain in the ass to get it open.
Do you want me to get that fixed? Emma, you should let me get that fixed.
I have to save the world again.
I could have come in. If I was invisible, I could have come in and you wouldn't have known. Could have quietly pushed the door open and shot you in the head from across the room. You wouldn't have heard. Such a simple thing that could make all the difference. And you are now sitting down and having dinner with vampires. Are you rolling? What are you rolling?
Parent subterfuge.
Oh boy.
Or I should say, almost said something that upset Rebecca.
Man, now I really want to know what it was. What'd she almost say?
She was about to make an offhanded comment just along the lines of, well, then, he put me out of my misery. More on the lines to be like a smartass, but
Oh no.
she knows how Rebecca would take that.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
So she stopped herself.
Well done. Rebecca would be proud of her if she knew, but she doesn't know.
Well, if you really want to get it like that, sure, why not?
Thank you. I'll sleep better knowing. I had a full-on alarm system installed. Gabe did it. Cameras and I don't even know what all. Doesn't scare you.
What?
All of this.
Not nearly as much as it probably should.
I can't decide whether I should be grateful for whatever time you get. Or whether I should just be more worried.
Well, anything that's going to happen to me is not going to happen to me without me kicking and screaming the whole way. And if I can't get out of that particular conundrum, kerfuffle, whatever you want to call it, on my own,
Heaven help us. Are you a Darwinist?
survival of the fittest,
Oh, mm-hmm.
in a sense, I think I'm more of a nihilist.
Well, I've never particularly liked either one.
It's amazing that you keep coming around, all that considered. Almost getting the sense that you actually like me.
You're growing on me. It happens. I often discover that my first impression of someone was wrong. Especially these days.
Growing on you, huh?
Maybe.
And I think tumors grow on people too.
I didn't say it was a good feeling.
Hmm.
But it's better than hanging out with werewolves. And I
Out of
quite like
character
some of them.
level. How dare.
And she follows up with, and I quite like some of them.
Well, I'm glad that I rank higher than some primordial killing machine.
Not primordial killing machine there. paladins. Religious warriors.
Her face soured so bad.
Oh no!
Never have you.
Oh no!
Never have you seen someone's face turn from I don't know about them to geez, now they all have to go.
Oh, oops. Oops. Rebecca spots that change and says, I think religious means different things to you and I. I don't know their religion. I don't know if they have gods. I just know they fight some kind of evil.
Yeah, a lot of other things have been justified, in the defense against evil.
It wasn't a werewolf who told me about the evil. It was a third party. Someone with no stake. What's the word I want? What do you call it when someone is neutral? What's the word, Vinny?
When somebody's neutral?
Yeah.
Impartial?
Thank you, impartial. It was an impartial third party that told me.
Not that I think that you're a liar or anything. She can't even say that with a straight face.
Rebecca is super is super interested to how this sentence is going to end. She raises her brows.
But I'm gonna have to just not believe that.
Not believe what?
You know what? You want me to be honest about that? She'll pour a glass and just set it down.
I do, but I want you to wait 2 seconds while I finish writing down this quote. Before I forget it.
I haven't been up on the quotes thread in a while.
Okay, please continue.
She sets a glass down in front of Rebecca with just a little bit of whiskey in it, and she grabs a second glass and sits down across from her. Pours herself, I am, a normal sized amount. One thing my grandfather said to me, one of the few life lessons is never trust a man that isn't willing to drink with you. And she stops at saying that, and she just sort of gets this look on her face like, oh God, that explains so much.
Oh no, vampires. Rebecca's going to look her in the eye and say, I am no man. But then she very reluctantly picks up the glass and sniffs it.
Maker's Mark. It's not going to go down easily for someone who doesn't drink a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, you're not going to mistake it for paint thinner. It's smooth enough, trust me.
You know that face someone makes when they're about to sneeze,
Mm-hmm.
but they can't quite?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the face I have worn every time I put my nose in any kind of hard alcohol.
Yep.
She gets that face real good, like, oh, I'm gonna, and then she just, it's not quite enough to make her sneeze. Um, but she starts to sip it warily.
It's Maker's Mark. It's not terrible whiskey, but it is whiskey all the
Mm-hmm.
same.
Mm-hmm. She definitely doesn't drink. It's whiskey. She keeps sipping. I'm listening. What don't you believe? Look how smug you are.
What do I believe? I don't believe anything that people say. It would put anything into the light of a religious organization or religious fighters or religious warriors as being, and saying it as a positive is in any way impartial.
Oh, it wasn't a positive. The person who told me was she swallows the rest of what's in the glass and sets it down with her eyes closed. Was the most egregious nihilist I've ever met in my entire life.
I'm just going to lean forward slightly at that. Do I need to pour you another glass?
No, 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 no. This is fine. Thank you. Oh, I didn't mean to drink that all at the same time. That was a mistake. It just felt weird to have the glass in my hand.
Hmm. So somebody who's more egregiously nihilist than I am.
Much. She had standards. She recognized when a thing was evil, and if it was a little too late.
What makes your opinion on them so mild?
On which of them? The
The
werewolf?
wolves. Mm-hmm.
That's a really good question, and Rebecca kind of shudders um as she thinks about it. Like the question just makes her shudder for a second. I've had to work very hard to spend time around them. It's very difficult. And they've worked very hard to make it worth my time. Of all the supernaturals I've met, the only one the only one who looked at me and said, "This world is damaged, and I will do whatever I can to fix it," was a werewolf. He was complaining about how difficult it was, but he wasn't giving up. I've seen them go to great great lengths to be gentle when it wasn't their first inclination. They're terrifying, but they're capable of great good. They can be healers.
Hmm.
When I got shot the first time, I was in pretty bad shape. I had some help, but I was still healing slowly. And one of them didn't know me from Eve. Craziest thing I've ever seen someone do. He had some kind of a gourd. A magic gourd. And in the middle of a fancy dinner party, went to the most ridiculous lengths to smash that thing over my belly. And let me tell you, there is no way to do that discreetly.
God, that sounds creepy.
It was creepy. It was absolutely creepy. Especially when it's someone who just, every breath you take around them feels bladed. Like the air is electric. With fear and the knowledge that something is wrong. Right under your skin there.
But he healed you, I guess.
Yeah. He did. And then he died finding one of their, whatever it is they fight. And the others mourned and couldn't talk about it. There's something fucked up going there. But they're trying very hard, it seems to me. It's probably way more than you wanted to know.
I suppose that's one of those things that's probably better for me to know.
She kind of licks her lips. I think so. It's hard to know. It won't do you much good if one of them has lost its shit and turned into a 8-foot-tall murder beast. I've never seen it happen, but I have heard stories.
Glass fills back up, and she takes it down just as quickly.
Rebecca cringes when she does that. Like, she physically cringes.
She's going to look across. I'm going to roll her stamina just to see how she's doing. She's okay. She just looks at her. Oh, stop.
Hmm?
She just looks at Rebecca and seeing that cringe. Oh, stop.
Well, it sounds like we've had a little too much story time tonight. I'll head out.
You don't have to go if you don't want to.
I don't need to be hanging around driving you to drink. I will probably do that enough times unintentionally.
I drive myself to drink pretty adeptly, so.
No. It's not fun to watch. She's going to roll that.
What the hell could she be rolling on?
As she slips to her feet and, ooh, close but no cigar. And, pulls her stuff together.
And we'll stand up. Maybe a little bit sway, just because, she's been drinking all night, so she's definitely got to have a little bit of a little bit of a buzz going. But she'll walk over to the door, open it for her.
Thank you very much.
Eventually, your good habits are going to have to rub off on me, I guess.
I can only hope. I do have a few.
Blech.
I hope it's my penmanship. I have lovely penmanship. And she heads down the hall.
And Rebecca or Emma will just wave as she walks away, and then once she's out, she'll shut the door.
And Rebecca heads home, sweating and frowning and not swearing, but only just. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Good night.